Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are. I am glad you are able to watch and receive the medicine that that this video on ancestral milk and honey is going to share through this transmission, video transmission to be precise. And my prayer and intention is that this will be of medicine and clarity for anyone who watches this at any time whenever they're ready. That so I want to say welcome. And I want to introduce myself. I am Sarah Villanueva. I am the founder and guide of my spirit care enterprise, the estuary moments. Uh, Current I go mission and vision really is to support, you know, you know, is to support and center around POC, uh, visionary border walkers and bridge walkers who want to step into their dream architect and move away from the eager beaver mentality and feel free to step into align their spirit to whatever their calling is, whatever their calling is in a day to day way, as well as supporting folks making the most of transitions as a moment of initiation instead of transitions, changes, and crossroads being something to fear. So that is the work I'm doing. It's at the beginning stages. It's just sharing like videos right now and offering intuitive divination card readings. But there'll be more to come. And if you want to stick around for more updates on that, you can follow me on the YouTube channel. There will be also a link to my landing page if you want to know about the how to get into my email subscriber list as well as my current offerings at the moment. So if you want to know, like, keep up with the business and what future offers are going to be presented and videos, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click on the side of the landing page below the video, and that is it. So let's start with a little grounding. And the way to grounding and settle is to do the self hug. And I'm going to move my hair for a moment. And we'll start. You could hug on the shoulders, on top of the shoulders, with the hands on top of the shoulder. And let that settle. Or you can have have it on your arms like this. And just hug from here. And just hug from here, or here, any part of the body. So if you want to hug longer, if you could pause the recording and just settle with a nice warm hug. Now, but we're going to be here for only 30 milliseconds to a minute. When you're ready, you can put your hands down and we will get started on the ancestral pleasure reading, aka ancestral milk and honey reading. And so before we read the poem for invocation, I want to point that this came as an inspiration to honor the Dale Vinning season of fall and winter, and tapping into ancestors, tapping into lineage and legacy does not end after it does not end because Halloween is over. It is ongoing year round, and especially mostly during fall and winter, and also due to, well, calling from the land that I'm living on, the Gestava land known as Los Angeles, as well as my own ancestors and their spirits the, and their words, and as well as my own desires, and out of as well, I want to have a different take on ancestral healing to just be a transmission of what's possible to tap into what is it to tap into pleasure as well, not just only tap into the wisdom and pain, as well as owning your own pleasure and need for grace as well. Like it's, and I want to do it as spend on ancestral healing. So here I am doing it, and this is an accumulation of years of my own work and facing intergenerational trauma and healing and pleasure work and learning from other people online and in person, and deep influenced by uh, interfaith activism and spiritual direction and sacred activism. So this is like fruit that informed me for the last 10 years of years, all that, and 7 years of personal development and healing, and several years of community or of participating in community organizing, and 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 that also affects us. So this is the and as well as being in touch with conversation of faith and everyday life. So this is an accumulation of what is coming out at this moment. So I want to name all that, and I will be looking forward to what will be true for you all as you're watching this. So I am going to read a poem as an invocation. I'm going to read it, and this poem is called "On Pleasure" by Khalili Gibran, a Lebanese poet and painter who is mostly famous for writing the poem "The Prophet," which is one of his first English based poem collection of books of poetry that he written. And I thought that this would be appropriate as an invocation in honor of ancestral pleasure. So I will pick up a book because I don't like memorize, but I thought just reading the words and having them material. This is the book, The Prophet, Khalil Gibran. You can buy this on Amazon or better yet, in a bookstore. Or so let's dive in, and I'll read this out loud, and let's hear the words, and I will see as well as I can. Pleasure. Then the hermit who visited the city once a year come forth and said, "Speak to us on pleasure." And he answered, saying, "Pleasure is a freedom song, but it's not freedom. It is the blossoming of your desires, but it's not their fruit. It is a depth calling onto a height, but it is not the deep or the high. It is the cage talking wing, but it is not the space encompassed. I, in very truth, pleasure is a freedom song, and I fain would have you sing it with fullness of heart. Yet I would not have you lose your hearts in the singing. Some of your youth seek pleasure as if it were all, and you were judged and rebuked. I would not judge nor rebuke them. I would have them seek, for they shall find pleasure, but not her alone. Seven are her sisters, and the least of them are more beautiful than pleasure. Have you not heard of the man who is digging in the earth for roots and found a treasure? And some of your elders remember pleasure with regret, like wrongs committed in drunkenness. But regret is the beclouding of the mind and not its enchastment. They should remember their pleasures with gratitude as they were the harvest of a summer. Yet, if it comforts them into regret, let them be comforted. And there among you those who are neither young to seek or old to remember. In their fear of seeking and remembering, they shunned all pleasure, lest they neglect the spirit or offend against it. And even in their foregoing is their pleasure. And thus they too find a treasure, though they dig for roots with quivering hands. But tell me, who is he who can offend the spirit? Shall the nightingale offend the stillness of the night, or the firefly the stars? And shall your flame or your smoke burden the wind? Think you the spirit is a still pool, which you can trouble with a staff. Oftentimes, in denying yourself pleasure, you do but store the desire in the recesses of your being. Who knows? But that which seems omitted today waits for tomorrow. Even the body knows its heritage and its rightful need and will not be deceived. And your body is the harp of your soul, and it is yours to bring forth sweet music from it or confused sounds. And now you ask in your heart, how shall we distinguish from which is good and pleasure from which is not good? Go to your fields and your gardens, and you shall learn that it is the pleasure of the bee to gather the honey of the flower. But it is also the pleasure of the flower to yield its honey to the bee. For to the bee the flower is the fountain of life, and to the flower the bee is the messenger of love. To both, the bee and flower giving and receiving pleasure is a need and ecstasy. People of Ophiles, be in your pleasures like the flowers and the bees. And let's take a breathe on that note. Breathe in, pause, and now breathe out. And we shall begin the card reading. So first, people start with like soul. What are the soul desires that are being called to fruition? What are the soul desires and longings that are being called to be fruition, or that want to be made into fruition? And I'm checking the collective. So I'm gonna use this little card, little friend, called the Earth Oracle deck to get this answer. So we will ask. This is interesting. First, we got the card Dreams. Then we got the card Path. And then we got the card of Resistance right here. I eventually I will get a camera that will show the cards, but right now it's just my face. So, so with 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 the dream card that looks like this antler thing. There is that's inside. There's a forest around, and there's a shape of an ant of a deer buck with the horns, and then the moon on top of it, and then there's the path. Path is the river, and then there's two paths. One is the path of the river, and then the other path is the land path, and with this beautiful symbol in the middle of the sky. And then next is resistance. Like this is kind of more self-explanatory, like tension and contradiction and pressing together, like pushing together, and longing to call fruition is it's calling me to move from resistance to dreams. Basically, resistance, path, and dreams. And if you get, it's calling for to how to move through the resistance to find a path that will be in touch with their dreams is what has been really called here. Like there's basically desire, like what do I do in moving away from resistance? Like what what's that about? And and this is like an interesting thing to answer because like um there isn't any excuse, and pardon me with that. And there's a collective thing like how I want to get to this, but I also want to know how to face this. It's more like saying I don't want to face this, but if I had to like face resistance, then how do I make the most of resistance? Like what's my relationship to it? How is this resistance of any form, you know, resistance yeah, so basically there's this feel of like how can I release the resistance and be on the path and the facing the ease and challenge that comes with it to stay in touch with with my own dreams and imagination. So this longing for how do I live like with less resistance and more aligned with the path, as well as a possibility of creating a new path and be in touch with our imagination and dreams. And this is like the longing of the souls, is that there is a call for that. There's a call for resistance. There's a call for, you know, how can I live my life with less resistance? How can I, excuse me, I'm drinking water here. How can I call that I'm not constricted all the time, where I'm not like boxed in, and then have more ways of finding a path and the ways of being in touch with my dreams and imagination. This is feel like, how can I be more in touch with it? I just want to be more in touch with it and feel more free to create a path and not be so constricted. Like, I mean, and have more clarity of what resistance is helpful. So there's that longing too. There's a longing of that. What what kind of resistance is more helpful, and which ones do I just want to loosen up? So there's also that. Um, Let me see now. So that is what the soul's longing for. The next, so what challenges are present? So the same card deck. So let's see. Shuffle right here. Stillness. So the challenges are that are present are determined is vulnerability, cosmos, and stillness. So this seems to be more, it goes from vulnerability to stillness. So vulnerability, cosmos, and stillness. Sensing this imagery of similar complementary energy, this is like the fear of, you know, though really these are positive, but since what our challenges is the fear of being seen, the fear of, there's a lot of fear of being seen, the fear that you won't be, of being seen and being received seen, or the presence or being witnessed. The fear of not being witnessed and the fear of being seen, or what will happen, is coming up, which of course translates, part of it is because, am I supported by the divine? Am I supported by the world and the divine? And there's this, I'm coming over not a deep attachment wounding to the divine through not just relationships with people, but with even the world, the spirit world, and the world of more than humans, as well. It's like deep wounding, that there's a deep challenge of, there's this fear of being seen, and there's this deep wounding, of believing in your own divinity and your humanity and divinity, as well as believing in the presence of aliveness in both the cosmic and the earth. Like there is this deep wound that is there for me, as Oswald's there for me. And just that I'm afraid that if things are still, then that means I'm not doing anything. There's just, I think there's also a fear that if I'm just taking time to be still, like I'm not doing enough. There's this stillness, or if I sit still, then I have to face that. Or if it's not facing my own crap or shit, if you want to call it, and then I'm not being productive, or I'm just like being late. I'm being lazy, you know. And because I'm lazy, I'm not worthy of being in touch with my, imagination, be in touch with stepping into what's excuse me, flies. Still what's needed. And there's a deep, attachment wounding, and that's present in all this. And it's not just personal but collective, and it's not just in the humans, but fear of, like nature, fear of the divine, and wanting to see if dealing with this mental loop of like, is am I worthy to be present, and are they going to be present with me, and what's the point of it if I'm not worth, if I'm not affirmed for who I am, who I am in front of nature, in front of others, in front of the divine. And am I just enough to just be who I am and let that be enough? Like there is a huge fear to let challenges this both attachment wounding of both the divine and nature, as well as relationships, but also like there's this fear of being seen and not being seen, like both at the same time. And the narrative of, if I'm not productive and if I'm just stillness, then I'm just a vegetable situation. There's just and feeling the fear of uselessness. So what's challenge is present, that these not just these narratives but conditions are reinforcing these, not only reinforcing these narratives, not just the narrative themselves, but the conditions that are reinforcing it, because a lot of times people have done crap to you, a lot of it, and then you end up making toward survival responses based on that a lot of times don't serve us, not even for short-term survival, but we did it as a twisted way of protecting ourselves a lot, as twisted as that sounds. And of course you're gonna feel unworthy because, oh my god, I'm a dumbass. Why should I even imagine it if I can't even imagine a better way of dealing with whatever shit, or even dealing with the multiple global crisis or my own personal crisis. So there is a lot of that going on, and there's a lot of existential wounding going on along with this. So there's a lot of deep existential things that are, afraid to name in yourself or to be present with it. So this is like what this these are very interesting, because these are more positive, but because it's under challenge, this is the challenging is how to reconnect back to divinity in the, even while still be present to the existential fear and wounding, you know, because there's no guarantee of anything that life will be better as soon as the wounding goes away, kind of thing. And like, how do you start taking in grace and pleasure now, not wait until your wounding goes away to do it, because that you'll be sitting around for a bit, or like the crisis will, whatever personal crisis or global crisis agenda is going to resolve itself, like no, which is not going to happen anytime soon, or probably even on your own personal crisis. So how the question is like, how do we both still find pleasure and while also be real about the deep fears and horrors, and not ignore that or get dwelled into them but not sidestep them, and not, and how to hold that. So this is, seems to be like the challenge of this wounding, and also that challenge is a call to how do you intentionally choose ease and attunement without sidestepping crisis, what or sidestepping, fear of being seen in vulnerability, or the fear of sabotage, or the fear of being ignored. So this is like an interesting challenge. So we're done with that. The next one we're gonna get into is that which benevolent and aligned and settled ancestors to call in for support regarding of your soul desires. And I'm gonna shuffle these cards. It's the tarot deck card. This is the crystal power deck. And this is, I'm gonna shuffle them the major arcana because of their archetypes. So I'm gonna shuffle the arcana cards first, and then I'll mix them up with the court cards again. So this ancestor came. So this one popped up. This one it came out. The world. Oh crap! This is interesting. So the ancestors who are called, that you can call in for so far these soul desires that are being revealed in the challenges in the past two, or readings of the that I have just recently done, is the star card. This is the star card, and this beautiful star card, and this is I'm inspired and positive of the future. Next is the world card. This is the world card of, and it's like, I celebrate life and welcome new energy. This is a very beautiful one. And last but not least, the death card, which is basically let go and embrace new beginnings. This is butterfly with the leaves falling, and then there's like a new city right here. So, these are, you got with all the archetypes. It's calling in ancestors that embody, I think these are like these three groups of ancestors. This is not a particular ancestor archetype, but three groups of ancestors. Ancestors that have made a way to honor their North Star. You're gonna call you the ancestors that you want to call, or to honor their North Star. Ancestors who are who bring inspiration and hope in their life, not just only what they say, but who they are. And the star card is after the tower, like after the tower rise to the star card, you know, of shaking things up, but then you rise to the ashes, and so to speak, and and a few cards later you get the star card, which is a couple of cards after the tower. So this is like humanitarian. So you want someone who knows how to, who's pretty much like has a humanitarian streak, someone who actually embodies the results and practice of honoring the North Star, honoring their vocation, bring visionary and dreams to life, as well as like bringing renewal and guidance. So this is like ancestors who are in that plane. You want to call on them for this. Another, and this is also means like the new world is completing their lesson, like lessons to complete, lessons to master, the titanium quartz. Like this is like this woman's dancing. So the ancestors that are you can call on based on the world card are people are who commit and complete things, who have a life well lived, um, ancestors who you know are who live full lives, like, and that's like very diverse because you could have live full lives in the midst of whatever era they live in, like like who are deeply connected because the full is the beginning, they go into the journey, and now this is the completion of the journey. Of course that never ends, but this is probably saying, and this is who live a full life and are embodying the teachings that they teach and the lessons that they learned and are an embodiment of it. So I mean, this is like more like groups of ancestors groups that do embody the message that they teach, and and are honoring their role as not only masters but also as leaders and masters, and and then the parts of fulfillment and value fulfillment. So these are the you want to call in of fulfillment and living a well lived life in any era that they lived, and have fully lived their power and owning all the lessons and embodying their lessons. Be like like live life of authenticity, of mastery, of leadership, but also like from a place of fulfillment. So you want to look into that. I mean, it is about complete the lesson, so that can help you integrate and make new lessons rather than stay the same lessons, so or do a new later. So you want to call in those ancestors. Last but not least, the death card. The death card is transformation, transition, transformation, and as well as death. It's what basically what it's saying is that well ancestors who have death doula energy, who have dead midwifery, who have who are underworkers. That's one layer of ancestors who are well and embody like underworld, death, midwifery kind of level of ancestors to help you end things well. And endings well and transition these. So that's one layer of ancestors. Another layer of ancestors is people who know how to transform and are fun with the crossroads and know and have managed the crossroads in their lifetime. And so you're calling ancestors who are good with crossroads and transitions and are cool with that. And so I want to, pour you of ancestors who are crossroads folks who help transition or who are good at rites of passage situations and able to avoid with change or death and rebirth cycles. So these are ancestors dead. And also as a nice, so you know another last group of ancestors like is basically ancestors who um who know the power of the limbo, the of in between space, and you want to call in on them for work. Is sorry about you know So why do you call in on the ancestors who work with the in between, the liminal space, and are medicine people for that space? So also call in on those ancestors. So these are the ancestors and energies that you're gonna need to work with, and the death card. So, and we will get into now that we got ancestors to call out. Now let's see what the ancestral milk and honey, like what they wanted, what these ancestors that I just mentioned earlier want to share with you all. So the first set of it is what does with called the Oracle Wisdom deck is like what are the ancestral milk and honey that is ready to be known and shared to you all? What is the ancestral milk and honey that's ready to be shared to you all? So let's what is the milk and honey that they want to share with you today at this time or the time that you're gonna watch this? So let's do 4 cards. Uh, Synchronicity, pleasure. Oh, this is really good. The milk and honey is like 4 gifts. Insight. There's the triangle of the friends. Conceive. Is conceive. Synchronicity. Oh. And oh, pleasure. Ooh, this is really neat. Ooh, there's a lot of what they want to they want to give you is clarity and imagination. Like conceive is like when conception, when things meet and start to form. Basically, to conceive is to formulate. I mean, I hope no sex ed class about the sperm and egg like coming together to conceive. That's the moment of conception, and the egg and sperm conceived. But this is like interesting of co-creation, like co-creating from the spirit and going outward, synchronicity and pleasure, like feeling good. So what is knowing the gifts that they want to share is known to you is like how to conceive and look and offer opportunities, synchronicities, and things coming together, and giving you deep insight about that you previously didn't have, and receive it from a place of pleasure, even touch on what is enjoyable, what is at ease to you, and finding synchronicities, things starting to co-create, opportunities of co-creation and clarity on possibility is what is coming, is that they want to offer like clarity and moments of things coming together and things co-creating and having and going through the process of co-creation and things coming together from a place of pleasure and clarity from a place of pleasure and clarity. What they want is to give you the possibility that there is that you can co-create and have things bloom and create and experience synchronicities from a place of clarity and insight and pleasure. Like that's what they want to give. They want to give you that it's possible to have more ease and clarity in the process of creation and 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 integration and things coming together. So they this is the energy that's like been coming, is this more ease and joy into this, the conception, instead of, and more intentionality, instead of just having creations be accidental, is what I'm getting from this. And we're done with that. And there's nothing else to say. The only thing I can say is that like you got the gray, the blue, and the pinks and whites. It's like there's like a lot of coming together and a lot of softness coming in. So, like, what do we do? How does this milk and honey aligned with how? So, how was this supporting, your soul desire? So let's answer that question. So let's see what the cards say about that question. How is this ancestral milk and honey? Much more clarity and better. and more synchronicity of co-creating that is pleasurable to do with making sure your soul desires come true and are aligned. So let's find out. Ace of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, Two of Swords, King of Swords. Oh, this is interesting. So the next set is Ace of Pentacles, and the rest is I am always rewarded for what all I do and have my labor be honored. Um, and then Page of Pentacles, and the man says I am open to opportunities for personal growth. And then Two of Swords is just like whatever it is I desire, I trust the outcome. And whatever I decide, I trust the outcome. This is where you're called for stalemate, and that you have a clear decision, but it also means clear of decision. And then just the King of Swords right here. And what does that have to do with my desires? Or how how is it supporting me? Is that it's gonna help me, let's go start with the swords and then to the pentacles. Is that it's gonna be able to have clear more sovereignty in your decision making, more self responsibility. It's gonna help better face situations where you're not clear what to do, and move into more of self trust whenever you decide. And if you're not able to decide whether you can have some self trust enough that you can break through stalemates whenever you're ready to break through a stalemate. So it's helping you when you're at a crossroads, like you're gonna have more self trust in that. Like that's how it's gonna help along with it, is to be able to learn how to have mental clarity and self responsibility and social and aligned social responsibility, and tap into deep wisdom and clear and perception, and be able to better face stalemates and crossroads. So how is this, and what it's also helping is like how to like be more open and exploratory with possibilities of growth. It's really growth and clearly like uh sensing financial and basic needs, and more open to how can I have a better way of meeting my basic needs and material needs in a way that is not hurting yourself, that you will have a more grounded way of approaching that question. And every days of Pentacles is new starts, and it's like how can I take start like new starts, like as Ace of Cups, new emotion and relationship and new experience of love, like having a new experience of abundance, of a sense of enoughness, a much more grounded place, and a new way of safety and stability that is more aligned with you. Like this is more about a new way of stability and safety and anchoring, a new way of anchoring. and and this is like open to different ways of like what like way of being supported do you want to have, like what kinds of supports and resources. So this is like open to explore what resources I have not thought of, or different types of resources as well. So it will help like be more open to resources that you never thought of, as well as a new way of being grounded and centered, being supported, and stabilizing yourself. So this is like a call for like how is this helping me? So more stabilization, more this, as well as better way of facing the stalemates and crossroads and mental confusion, and they would have more self trust in your decision, as well as knowing which community responsibility and which one can you take on, and sharp discernment as hell, and following through that discernment, and knowing having both discernment skills and decision making skills. Like this is like something that can help you. So this is like that, and then last but not least, we can get through like how do we start tapping into the milk, and how to start tapping into the milk and honey and receive it. How do you start that? Where to start and how to tap into it. So it's like, and receive what I'm tapping into it. So okay, this is like the next thing is some, oh, this is really good. Like how to step into it. The strength card, and the quote says, "I can do whatever comes in my way." The Queen of Cups, and she says, "I trust my knowing and follow my heart." The sun, the beautiful sunstone on the top of it, beautiful sun, and it says, "I'm optimistic and appreciative of all that I have." And last but not least, the Ten of Pentacles, like I celebrate everything I achieve. Like this is generational wealth, completion, and fulfillment. Like it's fulfilled, like right there. So how do I tap into it? So basically, all this is saying, and especially these two, like tap into your light, your strength, your resilience, compassion, both within you and around you. So tap into, how do I start tapping? Tap by harvesting this sense of bringing energy and things to others, and honoring your heart and your resources. Like recognize that, celebrate the resources that you have currently, not just material resources, but resources that you have, and realizing your own like frequency of abundance, and realizing that you are, that your own not just worth but your own dignity. Like honor your deep sense of dignity. Like it's all starting with honoring your dignity. These two cards, honoring your dignity, and this is more on the front of like, here's compassion for yourself, and this is honor your dignity, your abundance, like recognize the deep value of your resources and the resources that you need, and know that you are a complete person, and that and that you are capable of accomplishing things, and that I'm feeling that what the tense is about. I think like may not resonate, but I just have to say like deeper legacy wealth and legacy wealth in all layers, and reimagining that a different way of wealth and fulfillment is what's calling for to this, and as you tap into honor your dignity by reimagining wealth and honoring your future compassion, you want to honor your heart, honor your intuition, honor your relationships that are ride or die, as well as honor your experiences, and tap into like powerful energy of, I mean, the sun is like brightness and illumination. Like honor the opportunities of illumination, honor the like seventh always illumination, and bring light things to yourself, allow yourself to be shined upon, and bring light to yourself, and also give light to others. It also means give life to others, but from a place of that of overflow, from a place of that you are supported, and that is what is it? It's really like beautiful, like self compassion and steadiness, and honoring your heart and the heart of others, and it's really at this all these things about bringing aliveness and dignity, and tap into your sense of aliveness, your dignity, where you imagine like what truly nourishes you, what empowers you, what honors your heart and spirit, which is what the whole is for is. And that is like how you tap into this. What honors and nourishes you, and the people that are there for you. Like what is that? And honoring your dignity, and your energy and your dignity and your humanity. Really, honoring your humanity, and it really starts from there. Honoring your own humanity, you know, and and reimagining you as realize that your needs are important to you, and unneeded you are worth a fulfillment that's dignified and humane, and honor that. So that is how you can tap into the ancestral milk and honey, and that's like it. And we'll say the final word using, I wasn't gonna plan out the final word, but that feels like called. This is appropriate. Two final words, which means two cards from the Oracle Wisdom deck. Just a final word. Courage. Oh my god, this is so appropriate. Final word is courage and trust. Meditate on this. This is blue and pink. But look at the shapes of these guys. Courage and trust. There's nothing to be said. Like the final word that they wanted to say, and what we and the spirits want to say is courage and trust. And it's been like how explore what that means to you. That is all that it says. Like just explore what that means, what comes into your body as you heard the words courage. The final was courage and trust. Because everyone's relationship to them is different. So the final is like they, how do you rebuild a sense of courage and trust? And how do you be tendernesses on the path of what experience of trust makes sense to you. Like, and also, but even though you call it courage and trust, still practice self-compassion and radical acceptance of how how on how you're honoring the words courage and trust. Honor that self, and also realize there's medicine in the experience of courage and trust. Courage is like, you know, and honoring that. So that's like the final word is courage and trust. And this is looks more like a compass, and this looks more like a North Star light. This is this is not in this. Whoever designed this is a great design of trust. It's like, where is the compass? Like, where's your inner compass, your center of gravity, and start from that place or figure out what is trust to you. And from this, what is your North Star? What's your root? What are your roots, and what is the North Star, and what is your roots? There you can start figuring out like what courage means to you. So we can all wrap that up. And I hope you enjoyed this one. If you are want more one-on-one readings, you can like go to my landing page and click offerings and book a session. Or if you want to keep following the channel, you can go and like the subscribe button. If you wanna like support, honor, like you can also offer a donation to my PayPal account if that's fine. So as well, if you want to donate, I guess you appreciate it. Like, just click on my PayPal account and just like donate there. So I wanna like say thank you your time and offer this end this with a prayer. You know, to you, and I'll just go and pray. And let's go pray. Like, and like I'm just gonna do this, and I'll pray. We pray that this medicine will reach to those who need this medicine the most, and that this transition medicine will be of highest good and service. Pray for the well-being of the audience and receivers of this transmission, well, for my well-being, and prayer for the earth and the stars and the earth of gratitude and understanding and receptivity. What we will ask is pray that this message is of the highest good and of great honor to what's transpired. So in the name of the divine, like I am in deep gratitude to you for me being a vessel for this transmission in all the ways. Amen. So I am grateful. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to next time. And next time, I will see you again soon.